everybody? Welcome back to another video. In today's video, we have some more Detroit Lions news. No, seriously, we have new Detroit Lions news. You probably won't believe this, but you already read the title, so now you do believe it. The Lions are expected to hire John Dorsey as the senior personnel executive. Let's get this started.
You know, I got to shout out DoseOfDion, man, because it was actually the first time I went live on YouTube. And, you know, guys don't know DoseOfDion. He put out a lot of good content for the Detroit Lions.
Welcome, everybody, to another video. Glad you guys are here. And, man, I was not expecting this news. Can the Lions, can you just, chill for, an hour? You know? I'm trying to make my Anthony Lynn video. I'm trying to get this offensive coordinator video out there. But the Lions are like, no, we're not going to chill. We're going to keep making moves, and you're going to have to keep talking about it and trying to catch up. So that's what I'm doing here. So the Lions hired John Dorsey as their senior personnel executive. Now, we know the Lions hired Brad Holmes as their general manager. The reason I bring that up is because John Dorsey was a GM candidate. We've talked about him, so there is a video about him if you want to check that out, about him potentially being the GM. There are things to like. There's also a lot of things not to like. He's very hit and miss. Some people love him, some people don't love him. Some of the moves he made were great, some of the moves he made were not so good. All right, very hit and miss as a general manager. He's 60 years old. He is a former player, another former player. Who would have thought? What a coinky-dink, right? How many former players we got? But seriously, another former player. But Lions bringing in Brad Holmes as their general manager, a guy that wasn't even an assistant GM. He was a director of college scouting that lacked a lot of experience. But he was known to have an eye for talent, the analytics, all that stuff. The Lions wanted to get some experience, and they did that with John Dorsey. They basically gave him a mentor to work with him through this in the front office. Now, I don't know how long he's going to be here, but at least for this season or off season, this could be very beneficial to Brad Holmes to get some help. We already know that Mike Disner has taken on more responsibilities to help out Brad Holmes, but now the Lions decide to hire John Dorsey. So this is kind of crazy. I mean, at this point, it's kind of confusing, but the Lions just keep making moves. So who is John Dorsey? Well, I'm sure a lot of you guys know who John Dorsey is. But if you don't, I'll give you a quick little background, and we're going to talk about things that you should like and things that maybe you shouldn't like. All right, so John Dorsey, a former linebacker, as I mentioned, going into the NFL when he's working in the NFL, starting with the Seattle Seahawks in 1999 as the director of player personnel, then joining the Packers in 2000 as the director of college scouting, which was Brad Holmes' job, all the way through 2011, and in 2012, he got another promotion. Then in 2013, he decided to join the Kansas City Chiefs. Now, he did win a Super Bowl with the Green Bay Packers. He was also involved in bringing in Aaron Rodgers. Not bad. And guys like Clay Matthews. But then he joins the Kansas City Chiefs with Andy Reid. Now, Andy Reid was working in Green Bay, so they kind of reunite. Now, in Kansas City, he didn't have the final say. At least that's what we're told, is he didn't have the final say. But he was their general manager. And with Kansas City, he has brought in some of the cornerstones of that team. Then, after his time with Kansas City, when I think they decided to part ways in 2017, he went on to join the Cleveland Browns as their general manager. Now, here he had the final say. And let's just say it didn't go so well. Yeah, it didn't go so well. He made some good moves, and he's really helped some of that team, but it didn't all go completely, roses and, butterflies. It wasn't all perfect. But I've heard recently some rumors that in 2020, he worked with the Philadelphia Eagles on their draft class as well and gave them some help. So it's almost seeming like that's what he may do with the Detroit Lions, is kind of just help our young guys and our inexperienced guys this offseason. Again, I don't know how long he's going to be here, but that's the background of John Dorsey. What should you like? What should you not like? Well, obviously the experience is great, but there are things to like and not like. I first want to start with the Kansas City Chiefs. Let's fast forward all the way to 2013 when he joins Kansas City as the general manager, just to see what he did. Well, Kansas City was 2-14 the year before. The year he comes in as the general manager, now obviously it's not all him, but he has an impact. They went 11-5. 2-14 to 11-5. I think I'd take that next year. If we could do it, I'd take it. In his first draft in 2013, I haven't pulled up here. You can see they selected Eric Fisher, obviously nice tackle. Travis Kelce, who is clearly, Travis Kelce, he's a cornerstone of that team. He moved to 2014, some really good draft picks here. D Ford, nice. Phillip Gaines, not bad. Zach Fulton in the 6th round, that's a good pick. And here, I like this one. Duvernay Tardif in the 6th round. Those are some good picks, man. He had about 4 good picks there with the Kansas City Chiefs. So clearly he had an impact on what the Kansas City Chiefs have been able to do. Move to 2015, you'll see guys like Marcus Peters. You'll see Mitch Morse, Chris Conley. Look at some of these names. James O'Shaughnessy. There's some nice names. There's some good value with this. 2016, this is a strong draft. Chris Jones, DeMarcus Robinson. Okay, maybe not Kevin Hogan. Tyreek Hill. That's some nice stuff. In his final draft, 2017, Patrick Mahomes, Kareem Hunt, J. Hugh Cheston. Okay, no, maybe not J. Hugh Cheston. I'm counting J. Hugh because he's a Michigan guy. Travis Kelce, Patrick Mahomes. Some of the cornerstone pieces of the Kansas City Chiefs team we see today. He was a part of a lot of Tyreek Hill. He was a part of a lot of that they did with the Kansas City Chiefs. But they decided to part ways. And then with Cleveland is where things get interesting. See, with Cleveland, his drafts didn't go as well, but he had tons of draft capital to work with. 2018, you just see some of the names. Baker Mayfield, Denzel Ward, Nick Chubb. And you're saying, dang, those are some good hits. Unfortunately, those were the only 3 hits he really had out of that draft class. The other 6, not so good. Antonio Callaway, that was an issue. Not so good aside from those 3 picks. And in 2019, Greedy Williams, we'll see how that goes. Mac Wilson, I think Mac Wilson could be solid. I think Mac Wilson could be all right. Really, they just need Greedy to stay healthy. But Taki, he's got potential at linebacker as well. Maybe not the best 2 drafts. And his time with the Cleveland Browns didn't last so long. And it wasn't just because of his drafts. So Freddie Kitchens becoming the head coach there, criticized for potentially bringing a toxic vibe. He was also criticized for playing favorites, guys that he drafted over players that maybe were better. He was criticized for a lot of things and building not really a great culture with the Cleveland Browns. And now we see what the Cleveland Browns have done since he has left, right? 2020, they took off. But I think you still need to, I think it is still important to recognize that this Cleveland Browns team with Denzel Ward, with Nick Chubb, with that running game, with Baker Mayfield, he was a very big part in building that. He was a very big architect in building what we're seeing on the field in 2020. Maybe not the best culture. Definitely made a bad decision with the head coach. But with the right head coach in Kevin Stefanski, you can see what he helped architect and what he helped build with the Cleveland Browns. That he's very aggressive and he's straightforward. Obviously having that experience. Like I said, he has experience, so I think he's going to help Brad Holmes. He's going to take maybe some off his plate and help him through this draft. And then you look at what he did with the running game in Cleveland. Like I said, that running game, which the Lions are trying to build, which honestly I think the Lions can look at what the Cleveland Browns were able to do, and it seems like they are, because the Lions should look at the Browns. They should say, okay, how did they do this? Right? How did the Browns do this? Well, look at that rushing attack, right? We talked about this in our stream today. A guy like John Dorsey, who was a big part of building that rushing attack, even though the offensive line, again, criticized for not really helping too much with the offensive line or making that much better, that run game, a lot of it was built because of John Dorsey being there. He deserves a lot of credit for that. His career winning percentage as the general manager is 56%. Look, he really helped build the Kansas City Chiefs. He really helped architect and build the Cleveland Browns that you see in 2020. He's a big part of building teams and building out the roster. So that's good. He does have an eye for talent. He has helped build out the roster with Cleveland, not only draft picks, trading for Odell, Jarvis Landry, certain moves that they made. So it's not all about just drafting. He's been a very big part of building rosters for teams like Kansas City and the Cleveland Browns, who have now taken off. As a GM, the thing is this. John Dorsey is not our general manager, okay? He's not making the decisions. He's not making the final say, okay? He's not taking shortcuts. He's not bringing in players with trouble past. I mean, we'll see what the Lions decide to do with that. But we need Brad Holmes and Dan Campbell to be in charge, okay? We need them to step up and be the leaders of this and say, hey, look, John Dorsey, you're not the GM here. You're going to help us. We'll use you as a resource. You're going to help us scout. You're going to work with Brad Holmes. You guys can both look into this. You can bounce ideas off each other, because I think this could be a recipe for really strong scouting. But you are not the GM. We have the final say. And the Lions need to make sure that they're not doing this goofy stuff that he was doing. The good thing is John Dorsey can't hire a head coach. He can't do the crazy stuff he did with Cleveland. He can stick to what he knows and then scouting talent. This guy go back to 1991 as a scout. Salary cap hasn't been his best friend all the time. I mean, that goes back to Kansas City, where they had some issues at times with salary cap. And then with Cleveland, after the Jarvis Landry thing, I'm pretty sure they had some issues with salary there. So, yeah, the moral of the story is he's not our general manager, which is good. He basically isn't cut out to be a general manager. But he can scout. And he can help us bring in some talent. The thing is, it's not only just character, as in the players that he brought in with Tyreek Hill, Kareem Hunt, Antonio Callaway. It's also sometimes his character can be in question. Like, there's rumors of him trading players without really telling them, and then it just pops up on social media, and that's how they find out. We obviously all have heard the story about him releasing, was it Jeremy Maclin? He released him by voicemail. Like, okay, if the player's not answering the phone, I guess I get it, but dang, man, you released him by voicemail? That's kind of harsh. Things like that. There's certain things like that he's done where people come into question like, man, I don't know if I want that kind of character. I don't think the Lions will allow that type of thing to happen, because he's not the guy making the final decisions. Now he's just putting in his input in certain players that should be brought in. Just his suggestions, just what he knows. I think it's just another guy to bounce ideas off of, and I think that's why it's beneficial. If he was our GM, I'd be really worried. Since he's this and he's not even the final say, I'm not too worried as much. It's Dan Campbell and Brad Holmes. They just got to take it for what it is. Take his suggestions, think about them, use them, but don't just jump on whatever he says, because if you do that, you're going to have some issues. He's not perfect with draft either. Like we said with the Browns, he had some issues in the drafts, but he is able to spot some talent, some major talent, and that could be very beneficial, as that's really what the Lions do need ultimately. So it's just another college mind, just another guy that's been scouting for a long time to just bounce ideas off of with Brad Holmes. So you basically got two guys that know a lot about the draft and know a lot about prospects that can work together on this. One thing that I've noticed, though, that he seems to have some success with is finding a quarterback. And what do the Lions need? Well, they need a quarterback, right? Here's what I've noticed. If he did help the Philadelphia Eagles, who had their draft in 2020, if you look at the Philadelphia Eagles 2020 draft, if he was helping with that, Jalen Reagor, Jalen Hurts, Davion Taylor, Kayvon Wallace, I like some of these, Jack Driscoll, I like some of these, Prince Tega Wanogoho, I don't remember how to say his name from the draft time, Kez Watkins, like, there's some nice names here in the draft. But if he did help, that means he was part of drafting Jalen Hurts, Patrick Mahomes, Aaron Rodgers, Baker Mayfield. You're looking at potentially 4 starters. That's pretty good. That is pretty good. And a team that needs to find a quarterback, Jalen Hurts, Patrick Mahomes, Baker Mayfield, and Aaron Rodgers. Part of those teams that did that. The Packers, he wasn't a GM, but he was part of the team. That's pretty good. So it seems like he has a pretty good success rate with quarterbacks. There's just very hit and miss with him. So having him as your general manager probably wasn't the right thing to do. You don't want to have this guy as a GM, because you're ultimately helping the Lions get experience for the now, but also helping Brad Holmes for the future. He wasn't able to be a part of that. But a lot of the pieces he brings in are cornerstones and are key pieces of teams that turn it around. And also the success that he's had drafting quarterbacks. The Lions need a lot of help. They need talent. It's that simple. They need talent. So you got a guy in Brad Holmes with an eye for talent. Now you got a guy in John Dorsey who's been a part of building some good rosters, but he's not the final say. He's not the GM. He can't hire a head coach because you already got Dan Campbell. So sorry, John, you can't mess that up. So he's just kind of there to help out. He's there to help you build and construct this roster, the personnel, right? Senior personnel. He's helping to build the personnel of the roster. And he's going to work together with Brad Holmes, get another voice in the room of someone that's proven. And he can also help Brad Holmes with any day-to-day task that he needs help with. This is a very interesting hiring by the Detroit Lions. But it tells me that Sheila Ford Hamp ain't playing around. Like, she wants to make this thing happen. I do like it. I like it because if they got him as GM, I wouldn't like it as much. There's too many concerns with it. But for his eye for talent and help to build a roster, with that idea bouncing off of what Brad Holmes knows and his analytics, working together on that, this could be nice. If anything, this can be very entertaining, that's for sure. But it shouldn't be a disaster where, oh, he hired the wrong head coach. Oh, he's making these bad decisions. Oh, he's starting this guy or this guy. Because he's not in charge of that. The roster is Dan Campbell and Brad Holmes. He's just going to help, I think, kind of like what he did with Philly through the offseason, through the draft, through free agency, answer questions that he needs help to. And it can help develop Brad Holmes into a general manager and help ease him into it, as well as Mike Disner and what his role has been and him taking on more responsibilities. I like this hiring. Sheila Ford Hamp, she wants to make it happen. And if this doesn't work, okay, but I can't say she didn't try. The Lions are in that position right now. They're at the ground. If we can build the running game like Cleveland has been able to build, we're close. We can do that. I believe we can build this rushing attack, and we got to start there. You got to build the rushing game. You got to build the defense, and then obviously at some point you have to find your quarterback. But if we can build around the quarterback and get that foundation strong and pop that quarterback in there, he'll look much better. And I see you, Lions. You're making this thing fun. John Dorsey joining Detroit. I like it. If he was a GM, I wouldn't like it as much. But in this role, this is the perfect role you could have gave him. This is the perfect role because he's not the final say. He's not the top guy. He's involved, but he isn't like the top guy, right? That's not where I really want him. But this, I like it. It's some experience paired with a very smart-minded Brad Holmes. This off by saying 2 words. Football guys. The Lions came into this offseason lacking football guys. They've done it a lot. This offseason, the Lions have brought in like literally everybody that's had former playing experience. Hopefully that means something, and hopefully that works. This is going to be very interesting. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Thank you, Brad, for watching. We'll talk about Anthony Lynn a little bit later, and I'm out.